Hey sports fans, Greg Medford from American Service Knife, ASK Knives. This is our inaugural video as the first batch of these go out to one of our phase 1 launch partners. Wanted to pull together the team that's helped bringing this to fruition, not the least of which is all the crew out in the making world. But for those of you who are going to buy these and interact with our dealers, you'll interact with Amy, you'll interact with Lindsay, you'll interact with Jeff. And you won't interact with me. If you do interact with me, it means you are a pain in the ass of epic proportions. That entire team of paid people to deal with problems can't quite solve, and they foist you onto me, and as they throw you at me, they all lift up their cameras to see what's gonna happen next. So you probably won't ever talk to me. Just here, the two of us. This is the culmination. This idea, how long ago did this idea come into existence? This was in Germany, I believe 4 years ago. I'm sitting in a bar with friends, and everyone's, we all own knife companies, and we're all sitting around, and it's the fucking who's who of knife companies, and we're sitting in a circle, and everyone basically is telling their dream, like, oh, if I could do this in the knife industry, I would do this. If I could do this in the knife industry, and I said, well, you know, I was talking with some friends, and I said, I would love to get me a piece of that Swiss Army knife money. I mean, I'd love to get in on their action. Their market is bigger than the entire American knife market. So everyone toasted to it, and we poured grog over our heads, ran around Germany, and then I got back home and I started doodling, and I drew this up. I spit out a couple of engineers in the process. Our current engineer, Jason, Lawrence in production management, Forrest, who's really tasked on ASK, David, one of our new guys, how about Donovan, and then not the least of which is our grind room guys, Fish and Joe have been instrumental in all of this, Isaac on sharpening, even Spencer was part of this before he punched out. And then over in the grind and EDM area, of course, Scott's doing huge things for us, making all this happen. So it's been nuts putting this all together. This is the biggest project we've ever done by a gigantic amount.
Absolutely.
And it looks like a simple little thing. I'm going to show you the knife in a minute. And it looks like a simple little thing. But to make a knife that a customer can open up, put back together, and swap parts in and out of requires a level of consistency that has not ever really been a part of our craftsmanship-centric hand knife making that we do. Everything we make now is kind of very fitted together. Jeff, as you watch this thing come together, what's the thing that comes most to mind to you about kind of the scope of the project and what's been required?
Well, I remember when you first brought it to my attention, which was a few years ago, and I know all that was going on here at MKT, I was thinking this was going to be a 5 to 7 year thing, and it's been a big effort. I think the modular piece for me is probably the most significant piece of it. The ability to take it apart, and then all the different components we have, and the ability to put it back together and have it be a functioning knife. I think it's a really cool project, and I'm excited to see what it does in the marketplace.
We're gathering up the resources to make a large amount of these every month. For us out here in handmade knife country, to hear numbers like 10,000 makes our eyeballs flip back into our head, but we're gearing up to make some big numbers of these. We've had significant American companies with brand names that you guys, every one of you knows the names of, kind of tease at expressing interest in, and I just stiff arm everybody. I'm like, no, I can't do a sample order of 30,000 knives for you. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Yeah. We're gonna do a sample order of 10,000 knives for us and see how quickly we can go through them. I want to give you a little scope of the project in your head so you can hear it right from the horse's mouth. And here's Mr. Ed. So basically, we're going to have 4 models. The first is after Jefferson, who carried the first multi-tool of any president that we know of. His knife is in the National Archives and has one of them, I believe, at Monticello. And then the second one is called the Washington. It's olive green and is military themed and has some tools in it for military guys and gals. The third knife we did was called Ironsides, you know, Jefferson was a great mind, Washington was a great man, Ironside was the great ship that began to project American excellence and was part of freeing the first slaves that were freed by the New World's collective thinking of equality. And the fourth knife, we did a local boy. We did named after a scout a Native American scout that was in the Native American wars and the Geronimo and Cochise conflicts that all went down here in Arizona. His name was Alcacay. You can read about that. We'll have that detailed on the website under that model as well. He was a Congressional Medal of Honor winner and was considered an Adonis amongst men. How fitting, he's from Arizona, from the native tribes, and the fourth knife is named after him, kind of our adventurer knife for being out in the field. So these are really cool knives. I'll show you one now up close so you can kind of get a feel for the kind of spirit of the knife. Everything about it is 100% American made. The titanium screws and hardware, which are all removable and customizable, those are made in Florida. The handles are injection molded plastic sourced in the United States, molds 100% made in Scottsdale, molded in Scottsdale. There's little Easter eggs all over the inside of this knife when you take it apart, if you take it apart. First model, the Jefferson, comes in this drop point configuration. It's got our cool waterfall grind, which gives us a Magnus tip. You'll notice the edge gets thicker as you get out towards the tip. So we get a really fine blade with a fine edge that's got a strong tip. You can see out here, little trick of grinding that I haven't seen done before outside of our company. Some of these will come in this beautiful uniform polish. Some will be two-tone to have a little more of the custom knife feel to them. It's got a really good half stop, nice audible, and nice tactile feedback. Every knife has got a tool. It's got a bottle opener next to the blade, and it's got a tool opposing the bottle opener and blade. Some details about the bottle opener. It's the best. I went through a bunch of bottle opener iterations to come up with this, and we've come up with about the best bottle. The only thing, it almost, as you approach the bottle, the top, it almost just spits the top off the bottle. But when you grab on in one shot, it works. You don't have to get two around here and get the side. Looks like Fire Marshal Bill took the cap off your bottle. That's not the case. Just up, comes off in one. I just love it. Great screwdriver on it. This has got a brushed satin finish with our tumble polish. The other opposing tool, and you can hear that lovely snap. And you'll see that they're slightly off center. They're back into the lock, spring back of the knife, so that if you do put some pushing on it, it puts the primary force behind the pivot point and less likely to just accidentally collapse. We also cammed all of these, so when you push on them, they have if you could feel it and you'll get the feedback in your hand, you get this tactile feedback where you go, oh, it's gonna break, but it runs into a wall because we have a little cam on the inside of the tang. That cam engages the spring on the inside. It's got a nail puller, a little 1/4-inch hex wrench, and a chisel that comes unsharpened because you guys are not used to having a chisel in your knife. If we make that razor sharp, every one of these will get somebody in an emergency room. So we've left it slightly blunted, but we've told you where to put a chisel edge on it should you want to do so. It'll work great scraping in the meantime. If you want to make it razor sharp though, it's set up for that. Lovely snap and pop to it. The liners are titanium. The spacers are Magna Cut. The blades are Magna Cut as well. We used premium American made materials from stem to stern on the whole thing. You'll see it's got a Betsy Ross flag in it. It says Made in USA. It's got our logo inside of our Medford crest, our parent company, and inside of that, it has a hammer and a musket. 250 years at work and at war. Disrupting the world with freedom, you're welcome. So we hope you guys like it. This batch is going out to DLT Trading. DLT's been a great partner. They're one of the 3 phase 1 launch partners. Who are our other 2 partners in this?
Smoky Mountain Knife Works and then Blade HQ.
So Smoky Mountain Knife Works and Blade HQ, the first batch are going out to DLT. They've been great with these little boutique launches, and so they're getting the very first tranche of these to go out. You'll see these start hitting the public, and they'll go to these 3 resellers kind of primarily initially. It helps us kind of control how they're leaving and who we're getting them to as we kind of develop our processes a little organically in-house.
So it's a Blade Show.
And it does debut at Blade Show. So what's the date on Blade Show, Lindsay?
Blade Show is June 3rd through June 5th.
So June 3rd through June 5th, if you'd like to come out, you don't have to say hi to me, but I'll be there. The crew will be there, and we'll be representing Medford Knife brand and the ASK Knife brand, and basically doing a premiere of the knife. This is it's a rare opportunity to get a chance to launch something that may that we think probably in all likelihood will outlast all of us as a company and a brand and a name. And to bring something like this to the marketplace that so many people are slightly familiar with, to bring something competing into the market that has all of the awesomeness of high-end handmade knives, high-end American-made knives, to be able to bring that to the more mass market for us, it's pretty cool. We decided on the pricing before material costs and labor costs went through the roof in this country, so we're going to kind of take it in the shorts on this, but these go for $240 a pop. I think you'll find it to be a fantastic value when you get a chance to lay hands on them. We have a limited number of them out in the wilds right now, and the guys who have them, I get text messages all the time. Look at me, look at this, look what we're doing. Love this knife's awesome. So you guys get to be a part of something that's unique. The biggest thing about the knife, you can take it apart and do the greatest American thing there is. Individuality, customization, and tailor make it and suit it to you. So we've got multiple colors of scales you can get on at asknife.com.
Yes.
We've got multiple tools and blades you can get at asknife.com. You can buy one of the 4 flagship models, either the Jefferson, the Washington, the Ironsides, or the Alcacer, and you just have to wait in queue for the next models as they come through. I think we're going to launch a big batch of these around the world, and then we'll jump into the Washington next. So stand by for the ride. Amy, any parting thoughts to anybody who wants one of these knives or is into one of these little guys?
Well, I mean, if you already have a Medford knife, it's a gotta have. And if you don't have a Medford knife, it's a great way to get yourself into one of our knives made here in Phoenix. And then you can try anything else out from there.
Yeah, I think they're really cool. I think it was a great project. It is a great project, an ongoing project. And everyone's going to say, why don't you have scissors? Scissors are one of the hardest things to make in cutlery. They'll be one of the last tools we integrate into this, but they are on our event horizon. The machine to make scissors starts at about $1 million. The specialty of scissor making is kind of a lost art in North America. And if we get to doing it, there'll only be a couple of people here in North America who do it. And it's a big, big skill to re-onshore. And this is what happens when you buy Chinese and you buy foreign, these things that outsource and go away, that talent that the old man taught the middle-aged man, and the middle-aged taught the young man, and he taught it to 3, and then they taught it to that. All that goes away, and to bring it back is really hard. I mean, it's been hard just getting these things running. When we let go of our Americanness, it's really hard to get it back, and you got to really work hard. So we hope you guys enjoy it. Go to asknife.com, or you can check it out at DLT Trading.com.